Hey, what's happening, Albuquerque? B2B, business to business network, all that great stuff. Soy Luisito de la Noche, Luis Hernandez, coming at you live from Team Alkaline Livestream Studios, right here in beautiful Albuquerque, situated conveniently here inside the Kangen Water Store, 7400 Montgomery Boulevard Northeast, suite number 19. Just like the sign says, change your water, change your life. Amazing thing happens to your body when you hydrate it properly, when you hydrate it with the correct type of water. I'll tell you all the details, but here's the deal, folks. I can't tell you about it. You have to come and experience it all on your own. So when you do walk through the doors, say you heard about it on ABQB2B, the network. Tell them that you're here to try the water, and they will kindly give you 2 gallons of water so you can go and have your very own experience with the Kangen water. Also want to thank our sponsors here for this show, today's show, and for every show. That is Go ABQ Community Market. If you are a local business person and you need help spreading the word about your business, you need Go ABQ. These guys are going to help you document your business and get you ready for search to be found online. Then they're going to turn up a texting keyword program so you can build your own customer base of folks that you can market to. It is magical. You'll never know unless you give it a shot. That's what we're all about, giving it a shot, right? We got a great show lined up for you guys today. We got some folks from City of Albuquerque, Office of the Mayor, Mr. Tim Keller himself. Yes. From the Planning Department, we have Francine and Maya. What up, ladies?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
That was a little delayed.
Well, we were waiting for you to stop talking.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I'll try to kick back on my coffee a little bit.
Oh, no worries. Well, coffee was great. In fact, I had my fill of coffee this morning over at the Savory Fair Cafe, which is also conveniently located right next to the Kangen Water Store. One of our partners here, Kelsey, is our co-host, also the owner of the Savory Fair Cafe. Unfortunately, she could not be with us here today. In her place is the infamous Miss Natalie Pena. But she has no microphone. But that's okay, because we're going to talk with her in just a bit. Before we do that, we're going to talk about all kinds of amazing things that is happening with the city planning office, right? We're going to learn about some opportunities for you guys as community rock stars, right? Because that's what you all want to be in life.
Actually, the community's the rock stars. We're just trying to promote them.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody in the community is a rock star, right? I mean, at least that's what they aspire to be, right? Not just on stage, but we all want to be rock stars in our community.
And we want to make sure that spotlight gets put on the community as well.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about those opportunities on how you, as a constituent, a resident, no matter what neighborhood you live in the city of Albuquerque, whether it's the beautiful west side, the southwest Mesa, the northeast Heights, the east side, the northwest side, all those sides, whatever, it doesn't matter. Does not matter, right, Francine?
Right, you're on the Burque side.
You're on the Burque side. That's what we're all about. Maya, what do you, okay, so I got a little disclaimer here. Maya's 3 weeks in.
I am. 3 weeks.
3 weeks in. So I have to ask you, what did you do prior to landing at the city of Albuquerque?
I was actually an event manager at the convention center for the last 4 years.
Is that right? I knew you looked familiar. I just couldn't put it where, right? So you got to work with the wonderful staff there at the convention center. World-class staff, I might say, right?
Yeah, they are amazing.
Well, except for that guy. What's his name? Jose
Garcia?
Yeah, I don't know about him. No, brilliant folks there at the convention center. But I love the progression in your life. You're moving on up, right, to the deluxe apartment in the sky. Are you? What floor are you on at the city offices?
I am on the 3rd floor, and I came from the basement at the convention center.
Okay, see, there you go. See, progression. We love that progression, right? From the basement to the third floor. The next time that you're on this show, you're going to be moving up the ladder there.
See, it's kind of like how we want to do in planning. We don't want to plan from the top down. We want to plan from the bottom up.
From the bottom up. So let's talk about that really quickly, right? Okay. So we're gonna break it down to the ridiculous, okay? Because that's what we need to do sometimes, right? We got to break it down to the ridiculous. We have to, for lack of a better term, we have to make things simple or simplify things, right? So let's talk about what the city planning office does. Let's start there.
Well, we have multiple departments. So you got your land use, you have your zoning, your code enforcement. My particular department, though, right now we're dealing with the integrated development ordinance and our comprehensive plan, which is basically policy versus regulation. How do you enforce that? But,
There you go.
can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, so let me start over again so you could hear me.
We could hear you. We
Oh,
could hear you.
okay.
Just we hear you a little clearer now. That's all.
So we understand that a lot of people don't know what planning is or how land use impacts them.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down real quick. Quick question for you, right? I am.
Sure, go ahead.
I am Chicano Cat Luis Hernandez from the West Side, right? And why do I need to concern myself with the city planning offices?
Because you want to know what's going to be developed in your neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Or
Very
what?
good.
Or hey, guess what? We just had a zone change. What are you zoned for? Do we upzone you? Do we downzone you? And with these zoning changes, we try to make it more cohesive for a mixed use community. So you can have your business right next to where you work. Or you can even have them in the same building. Or it could be walkable, so you don't have to drive all the way across town in that wonderful rush hour traffic.
Ooh, see, I love that. As a West Sider, who wants to drive across the river, right? Any time of day. Even this morning, right? I was on my way up this way, and guess what? There was an accident somewheres. I don't know exactly where, but traffic was backed up to 98th Street. Sad. Anyways, okay, continue on.
Fun. Oh, I feel for you. I'm
Yes.
so sad.
Continue on.
So anyway, also, hey, you know what? Guess what? There's a big lot next to you, right? A big vacant lot. And you want to know, well, what is that zone? What's allowable there? What's the permissive use? Let's talk about what is a permissive use. It means what is allowed in that zone. So if you have a big empty lot next to your house and you want to know, oh gosh, are they going to put just like a big building here in the middle of residential? Most likely not. But we want to talk to people, one, to teach them how to go on our website, learn the interactive map, and say, let's pull up this zone and let's see what this means. What is this permissive use? Oh, guess what? This is considered MXL or it's R1, whatever it is. And then it'll tell you what's allowed and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow that to go in your background or in your backyard. So we want people to understand what's coming to them, what's going to be developed, what are those processes, who are the decision makers, because this is everybody's community and we want everybody to have an input in how it's being developed.
I can appreciate that. That's information that people need to know. It is vital to how you live your life, right?
Yeah, and also we're going to not only, okay, so first off, let me back up a little bit.
Okay, back it up a little bit.
So
Back it up a little bit.
we're having a series of workshops that are talking about what is planning, how do you get to know this new interactive map with the integrated development ordinance. But even before we jump into that, we understand that community members need a basic understanding of planning. So we're launching our civic skills workshop, which is for the general population who has never been involved in planning before. So we talk to them about what is planning, but we also give them a little bit more. We talk about how has planning been used as a tool against the communities? How have communities of color been previously marginalized and historically marginalized through institutionalized racist policies and regulations? We want the public to understand this because we want them to make an informed decision. We don't want them to think like, oh, all is good. Oh, look at the glorified version of planning, because we recognize some negative impacts have happened.
Right.
So in order to avoid that, let's talk about it. Yeah, the city, we did some things that were probably not kosher. So moving forward, our planning, or the planning department, our goal is to fix that. How do we establish trust? How do we establish a relationship? Well, first you start off by acknowledging the past grievances.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Paseo del Norte.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily the planning department. Like there was a lot of entities involved, but the fact that you paved over a culture, I
Right.
mean, that was their religious site. And that's just something that happened recently. But even historically, like you look at redlining, you look at racially restrictive covenants and how we've segregated populations. When you segregate those populations, yeah, so we have laws that have said, oh, you know what, that's outlawed. But people don't realize just because it's gone, that doesn't mean the impacts are gone.
Right.
So that has an impact of where people live. And it also had an impact of accumulation of wealth. And that was all because of development saying we are going to allow or not allow a certain population to come in.
Ooh, they would do something like that?
Oh, never.
Oh, my goodness.
So we want to have this conversation with the public. We want to talk to them and give them these tools and be able to have a critical thinking lens to, again, have an informed decision about the development that's coming to them, development that's going to be happening in their neighborhood. And not only that, but how can they organize and advocate for positive growth in their area that is specific to their neighborhood, their community, specific to those needs and those characteristics.
Absolutely. And I think I thank you for talking about that. Thank you. Because, no, really, these are the things that we never really talk about, right? And excuse me, Natalie, you and I were talking about that this morning. I feel like we're moving into a time, right? And Natalie says she reaffirms this, right? She's nodding pretty heavily, right? You guys can't see her. There she is. She's like, yes. She's like the Toyota, the Toyota dude. Yes. Right? But really, it's the idea that we're bringing things to light that so many people for so many years kind of just brushed under the rug.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting is like if you right now, I've even called a couple of title companies looking for some of these racially restrictive covenants.
Mm-hmm.
They don't exist.
Really?
So the only way I've been able to get my hands on some are from original homeowners where the property's been passed down from generation to generation. So in even in the planning department, we've looked through our documents. We can't find them. Now, I know they exist.
Are they like private trusts?
Oh, so what, I'm sorry, let me go back. What a racially restrictive covenant is, it basically was recorded with the title. So when you purchased a house, you know how you record the title? This covenant went in, just kind of like right now when you buy into a subdivision, you have your conditions and covenants. I can't remember if that's the name. It's been so long, but the CCR and the covenants are basically one of them. And it tells you what you can and cannot do on your property.
Right.
And in these racially restrictive covenants, they basically tell you that if you are not white, you cannot live on the property. If you were a person of color, the only way that you can live on this property is one, if you're a servant, and two, if you're a servant employed by the actual landowner. So let's say there was a white brother and sister and he was leasing to his sister, she couldn't bring in her help. She had to get permission from him. So they were very, very restrictive and they were very specific. And they would even say no Mexican Americans, no Asians, or actually they would just say Mexicans, no African Americans, or they would just flat out say if you were not white, you couldn't live on the property.
Wow.
And it was hard to challenge
Wow.
these because they were recorded with the deed. So legally, it was hard to battle it out in court because it was recorded and that title, that deed runs with the land.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Sorry.
it's all right.
Oh yeah, I would ask you a ton of questions.
Yeah, let's pull the microphone on over because I can feel this, right? I apologize, right? Because this is one of those hot topics, right? And I've got somebody blowing up my phone on it right now.
Uh-oh.
Of course.
Wait, I mean, which is great because, I mean, at the end of the day, when we can get a conversation started, around this, I think it's a great thing, right? It's a great thing because people need to know and understand the history behind, Albuquerque. They need to understand the history behind the development behind Albuquerque, right? And why there is development in certain parts of town where there is not in other parts of town, and the impact that it's made to today, and how it still continues. I'm not going to get on a soapbox. I'm not going to preach at anybody, but just know that there is a heavy disparity in our city.
And I have
heavy.
I have a question. Like, so thinking back, because there's like a lot of historical trauma
Oh yeah.
and trust issues that you were talking about. So my
Oh, yeah.
question is, how do you plan on moving the people into these conversations? What is it that, how are you building the trust with them so that they come to the table and they can be authentically themselves?
So that's the whole purpose of these workshops that the city is launching all throughout the month of October. We're having 2 workshops, and as a matter of fact, we're having one tonight at the International District Economic Development Center. So let me go ahead and break it down, and this is a lot of information, so I'm going to try to simplify it because I mean, it's just there's so much because like there's been so much that's been done,
Right.
and there's a lot of work that needs to be corrected. So we're
Absolutely.
simultaneously trying to do this. So the civic skills workshop is the one I was talking about, where we go into the history and we talk about it and we say, hey, you know what? These bad things have happened. Planners have historically used planning practices to oppress people. And a lot of times when we say historically oppress or we say these racist regulations or policies, a lot of people think Jim Crow racist, right? Like, oh, actively no blacks allowed in here. And yes, that happened with the racially restrictive covenants. But even after those are outlawed, there's institutionalized racism where you oppress communities through through regulations and policies. So we want to teach people the differences about that at these civic skills. And a lot of times people don't intend to do it, so they want to develop for a community with good intentions, but we're trying to say, hey, let's stop and let's rethink. Yes, this is going to be a positive impact on this community you're developing for, but what are the potential negative impacts for the surrounding communities?
Right.
Can this development accidentally, it's not intentional, but accidentally keep further suppressing another community? So in this workshop, we talk about those instances. And by saying, hey, look, this has happened in the past, and yes, we have to own up to those past negative impacts that planning departments have done, we're opening that door to say, come on in, let's come to the table and let's talk. So the civic skills workshop are to talk about those things. It's extending a hand saying, come to the table and talk, because these are uncomfortable conversations. And you have to have those uncomfortable conversations in order for change to happen, especially positive change. Because if you don't have those conversations and you just kind of sweep them under the rug, like Luis was talking about, how am I going to build trust when I'm not being honest with myself? If I can't be honest with myself, how can I be honest with the community?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's one way we're doing it. And then there's been a lot of buzz about the community planning area assessments that are going to happen in June 2020. Just to break down a community planning area assessment, what it is the City of Albuquerque's planning department has broken down Albuquerque into 12 different community planning area assessments. We will be going to 3 of them a year, and we will be spending 4 months in each and every one of them to understand the characteristics, the nuances, everything that that community is made of, because they're big and we understand there may be little pockets, little nuances. Those don't happen until 2020, right? Prior to those assessments happening, we are inviting the public to plan the public meetings with us.
Ooh.
Let's be transparent. Come to us. Actually, no, you know what? Strike that. I was totally wrong.
Yes, we're going to come to you.
No.
No.
No,
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 no.
no. We're doing a whole different approach. The planning department is going to the communities.
There you go. That's what I just said. We're coming to you. Okay, you guys are going to them. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's multiple ways that we're trying to build those bridges. And it's because the planning department is going to the community. We're not asking them to come to us. So we've strategically placed these meetings through all 4 quadrants of the city of Albuquerque. And we've done one in the daytime, one in the evening, and one on the weekends. Because what is our other big thing that we're really, really pushing at the city of Albuquerque? Equity. Equity and inclusion.
And inclusion. Now, I'm a fan and a disliker of that same word, that same term.
What, equity?
Equity?
Equity and inclusion, right? I think that's a whole completely different.
That's a different topic.
That's a different. Yeah, the different. Yeah, because we can talk for a couple hours on that, right? I am for it, but I'm also for earned things in life as well, right?
Well,
But
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
We're just going to leave it at that
but
because
just for that,
it's going to take us into a conversation path that we don't need to go down right now.
And you know what? And in order to avoid that, let me go ahead and clarify what I meant by equity and inclusion.
Okay.
Okay. So equity is not making sure everybody has equal resources.
That's
Sure.
right. It's not equality.
It's not
it's
equality.
equity. There's a difference, a
Yes.
distinction. Yeah.
So our goal with equity is we understand some communities need more resources than others.
Sure.
So we're not going to give every community $100. One community may need 50 cents. One community may need $1 million. Now, I'm not. That's just being a drastic example. I'm not saying
Sure.
we're giving anyone, right? Or let me put it this way, because you say money and people are like, oh, the city's giving away money. No.
Ooh, the city's giving away money.
So no. Okay.
Give me some of that.
Yeah, I'll
you
take
won't.
that
No, you
back.
won't.
So someone may need, I don't know, give me an example of a resource.
Food.
Food. Okay, so one community may need 1 loaf of bread, or another community may need 100 loaves of bread. Okay.
Gotcha.
So we recognize that. So we're not going to give everybody just 50 loaves of bread and say everyone's good, go. So we want to make sure that
I love that example.
Well,
That's a
there's
beautiful
also-
example, right?
There's also some really great models on equity, and I'm sure that you guys teach these people what equity and inclusion is when you're training them in the workshops, correct?
yes, we talk about it deeply. And, you know, or another example that someone had said, my good friend Keaton at UNM, she's like, it's like saying everybody needs shoes, right? You have a population that desperately needs shoes, and then you go and give everybody a size 5. Well, size 5 isn't going to fit everybody.
Right.
So that's equity, making sure you need the right resources. So with the City of Albuquerque Planning Department, we're trying to make sure that we give the resources that are needed to the right communities, or the right amount of resources. So again, we understand that not everybody can come to a public meeting in the daytime or in the evening. So we've tried to distribute these public meetings to where every single one of the community members can come. Now, these meetings we're having are not area specific, so I want to stress that. They are not area specific. So it's just, we were trying to make sure everyone had access to them. So if you missed one last week, you're like, hey, I missed the meeting at the community center by my house last week. I guess I can't go. No, that's absolutely wrong.
Right.
You can come to another one, which is in a daytime, an evening, or a weekend that just happens to be in another community center. So going back to your question, that's how we're reaching them, is we're going to the community, we're having these conversations, and we're inviting the public to plan the public meetings to say, hey, how can we effectively gather the data that best represents your community?
Right.
Not your neighbors, not across I-40, not across I-25. How can we hold a public meeting in June of 2020, starting then, and when we come to your CPA, how do we gather that data? And also, how do we get the community to come to the table?
Well, I think that's probably the bigger question, right? And
Yes.
that's really what we need to focus on here, and that's the whole purpose of you guys being here today.
Yeah, get out there.
Is we want to inform the community at large that, hey, guess what, folks? You know, you have to participate. You got to show up. You got to come and be part of, right? Because nothing happens, right? Let's just say, right, you're living in your house, in your hood, wherever that may be, right? And you want to create some positive change. Well, guess what? It doesn't happen from your couch.
No, it doesn't.
And also, another thing that we see all the time is no one knows what planning is until something bad happens. And then they want to come yell at us. Why is there a skyscraper in my backyard?
Right.
Well, you live downtown. So
Or if they want to put it, or if they want to add
The
a
zone says
cuartito.
we can have one. Right? The zoning says we can have one in your
the
backyard.
zone allowed for it. Well, how come I didn't know about this? Well, let me show you how you can learn your
Yes.
zoning. But
So it's not just adding the cortito to the back of your house.
yeah, oh, the
Well, I
little
mean
cortito.
that too, though, right?
Or the
The-
mezcal, come
yeah.
on.
Well, the cortito is either he's in some big trouble.
The man cave.
Yeah.
It's the timeout corner.
It's more of a timeout, not a man cave, more of a timeout corner, right?
Time out, okay.
I
Where
need
are
a
you going?
cortito for when he misbehaves.
Okay, again, another conversation for another show. Here's one thing that I can appreciate, right? Is that, well, this is one of those topics that pulls at many different heartstrings. I'm glad that we're actually starting the conversation, right? Because Gente, you have to be informed. You have to know what's going on. And the only way that you can do that is by stepping up and being part of, right? So the city planning office is making that super simple for you, right? They're coming to your neighborhood and they are providing you the platform to share your voice.
Yes. And here's another thing. Talking about these oppressive ways, what is the biggest way to oppress people? You withhold knowledge.
Yeah.
And here we're saying, no, this knowledge is yours. Let's help us distribute it among you guys.
Right.
You know, because again, like I said, these communities, particularly communities of color, have historically been marginalized. And it's not only through these policies and regulations, but also lack of knowledge. So we want to talk about the basic knowledge, skill set, and just build capacity. But we need the people to come to the table, because you want to know what's going to happen. You're going to get the same 5 people who are not representative of Albuquerque. And because they're coming to the table, this is all that we have on the record for public input.
Right.
So how are you guys promoting it then? I know you're doing this podcast. In what other ways are you reaching out to the community? Flyers, working with other organizations, churches? Like, who are you working with?
Well, I will give some insight, but I'll also talk to our new PIOs. And by the way, just for her only being 3 weeks in, she is kicking bleep.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
See, now you can answer a question.
But so, yeah, we have done some, we've done outreach, a lot of boots on the ground, talking to grassroots communities, emails, and just leveraging our own personal relationships, because we come from a background, like especially me, I come from a background where I was a single Hispanic mother, so I knew the barriers. And in order for me to come from the bottom up, I had to make these relationships, like with Luis.
Right.
So I had to leverage a lot of these, but that's how communities work. They leverage their own social capital. So we have taken a bit away from the traditional, I'm just going to send out emails to my listserv. It's going to be, how do I leverage social capital? Because that's how we operate. And then Maya here has been wonderful about helping us get that word out.
All right. You're on the hot seat, Maya.
Ooh, I feel it. And you know what? This is actually Francine's 3rd interview.
Is it really?
In a week.
In a week?
Yeah.
Wait a
She's
minute.
doing great.
Time out.
Uh-oh.
Why I not know about the other 2?
Check out our Facebook page.
I told you that at breakfast the other day. You were just too into your eggs and hash browns.
Oh, I was not eating eggs and hash browns.
Oh, my bad. You're right.
I did not have hash browns.
Oh, it was eggs.
It was just eggs.
Your eggs and coffee, all right?
So, okay, coach is watching. He's gonna call me out when I go see him on Thursday and be like, what is this talk of eggs and hash browns? Right.
Okay, for the record, he was having
Coffee.
coffee.
Coffee and eggs.
Coffee and egg whites.
Yeah.
Yum.
True story, right?
By the way, this water is delicious.
Isn't it? Yes. Okay, let's talk. Maya, what is the plan? I mean, how are you, along with the interviews that this young lady here is doing, how are you guys going out to spread the word?
So we're trying to further our reach on social media. That's why I mentioned us. You can go on our Facebook page. And
Okay,
like
what is
us.
that?
City of Albuquerque Planning Department.
Okay, so your very own standalone Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and we actually shared this video, so I think you might be able to click on the shares and see our page from there.
Absolutely.
Give us a follow.
We'll do that.
Yeah, so we are trying to push for attendance, trying to get the word out every single way we can. Trying to get Francine on as much airtime as possible. She's wonderful. She's lively. And she makes it really easy.
We really appreciate her hair.
Oh,
My hair?
that's my favorite thing about her. And the AOC hoops.
You cannot forget my AOC hoops. These are my power hoops.
AOC. Okay.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay.
Every woman needs power hoops.
I thought those were
At least
Survivor
one.
power hoops.
It's La Raza power hoops, man. Come on. Okay, Maya, do you want to school him on AOC?
Again, here we go. You're just spinning off all these other topics for other great shows.
Well, I digress. Come on, I'm sorry. This is why you shouldn't put a microphone in front of me.
I know. We're going to start talking about God knows what in about 5 minutes.
That's okay. We got Joe back here. Joe's hanging out. Joe's going to come talk to us about a couple of some really cool magazines. Maybe an opportunity for you to do some advertising. City of Albuquerque planning, right? One of the magazines is called In Your Home, and it is all about folks that are wanting to do things in their home, like add a cuartito.
When he's in trouble.
Or if they want to make additions to their home, or if they want to go up another, right? So there's a great synergy that could happen here, right? We'll bring Joe here in a minute, but let's get back to your hair. Just kidding.
It's perfect, you guys.
So you've been at this right now. You were doing the same thing at the convention center before, right?
No, I wasn't. I was
Oh,
actually
you
doing
weren't.
event management.
Event.
Mhm.
Well, I like to think that event management includes all of the above,
Oh my gosh, it includes more than you would ever think it does.
right?
No, but my background is communication journalism, so I'm kind of, I checked events off my list. It was wild and it was crazy for 4 years. And coming back to general kind of communication and
Yeah.
media outreach, and it's been really exciting.
Cool. I can certainly appreciate that. I've got a brand new platform for you to take advantage of.
I'm taking advantage of it now.
Well, that's, in addition to this platform, the other great new platform is the Go ABQ Community Market. There is a very robust program, events calendar program for you to use. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime to use.
Right
But it's a
on.
great way for you to share information on what is happening within your particular department, any events that you have, specifically community events. That is really where the focus is for Go ABQ. Is really to push out community-minded events. And so, yes, there's a pamphlet right there. Take it with you. Make magic happen, right? So if you're out there listening and you want to find out more about the events, you can find them on Facebook, right?
Yes.
City Planning.
City planning.
Yes, Albuquerque City Planning.
Yeah, city planning, but also I want to mention our other website, which is particularly for the Integrated Development Ordinance. But all of these events are on there as well, and that's abc-zone.com. So you'll also have just all the civic skills and a lot of the CPA stuff. So and a lot of these websites are linked together, but it's just some people are more familiar with one platform than the other. But yeah, I really want to encourage people to go on to these because our goal is to do a community-based planning moving forward. It's all about community-based participatory planning. How do we get them to, participate? Because without the community, we cannot move forward. I cannot stress that enough. And especially without la gente, la raza, we need them to come up. We need them to show up at these meetings. I
Right.
can't stress that enough. Please come hang out
Please,
with me.
please come to the meetings. Please come to the meetings. And one more time, please come to the meetings. No, really, here at really simply put, this is really a great opportunity for you, community members. This is probably the best. When was the last time they've done something like this? Never, ever. They've never done anything like this ever. So if we want them to continue to do these types of things and include us in these types of things, we've got to show up. We've got to, show them that we are a community that cares. We care enough to get out of the comforts of our own home and show up to a public community meeting where we're able to share our voice and share our concerns and the challenges and of course the wins that we have in our very own neighborhood, right?
Right. And also not only the comforts of your own home, but like how do you continue having those comforts of your own home without another community member voicing their representation, including you, that can possibly change those characteristics.
Right. Yes.
So, and another thing I just want to emphasize real quick is when we say that we're planning and we're talking about equity, the one thing I also want to enforce and just stress is just because we're giving more resources to another does not mean that we are taking away resources from that particular area. In the areas that don't need the resources, we're not ignoring you. We want to make sure that we have the ability to keep what's going good in that area. We want to make sure we're able to maintain that, but we can't maintain it if we don't have people coming to the table and saying, hey, leave this as is, or we heard that this is losing resources. So it's not about building capacity, or it's not just about building capacity in one area, but it's also preserving the uniqueness of the others.
I love that.
Preserve the uniqueness of others.
Yes, I love that. So yes, it is important to know, right? Just like we all have vehicles, right? My vehicle may need brand new tires, but yours doesn't.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to the same mechanic here on this one. At the end of the day, here's what's important, right? Is you need to be present, right? We all talk about the lottery, got to be present to win, right? This is really the lottery, I like to call it, right? And you do have to be present to win. You have to show up. You have to share, right? Just like voting, right? We all, have a right to vote. And if we don't exercise that right, then we can't sit and complain about the choices that were made on our behalf if we never get out there and voice our opinion.
Except our chances of winning are a lot higher than the lottery.
Very true. Very, very, very true. Well, it depends on, the lottery or the loteria.
That's true too.
All right, so we're. I know that you've got to boogie out to somewhere else. It's 11:32 a.m. now. Can you stay with us for a little bit?
Sure, I can
All
say a
right,
little bit.
cool. I know you've got to boogie out. You've got.
I do.
She's gonna go get educated. I'm not sure how much more educated this young lady could be, but she's gonna continue on with that education.
No such thing as too much education.
Education.
Ever.
That is how it happens.
Yeah,
All
race
right.
and social justice certification.
All right,
Yeah.
we love it. So, is there anything else that we haven't discussed that you feel is important for people to know?
Just the power of the people showing up. Just, please. I know we're halfway through October, but that means we still got 2 other weeks. Or is it 3?
3.
3 more weeks of meetings. So this is the last week for the plan. So try to make sure. So if this is the last week, that means that there's 3 more meetings left for the public to come and give their input on how to design the public meetings. We will be doing them again in the spring, but as far as the fall series, that's it. The remaining 2 weeks will be on the civic skills. And just to emphasize, we have 1 Saturday session left on the civic skills, and that's going to be an interactive map. So if you want to learn more about the IDO, you want to learn more about the zoning, come to Barelas Community Center on the 26th of Saturday, or the 26th of October, which is a Saturday. We'll have morning. And by the way, all of these events will have food. We're providing full meals and activities for youth.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you should have said that first, right? Hey, if you want buena comida, you're going to show up to these events. Now, let me ask you, in Barelas,
Yeah.
are you catering from the neighborhood?
We are not catering from Barelas specifically. Wait a minute. You hold on there. We are using...
I don't know if you guys saw that. Here it goes right here. She said no, and I said, that is unacceptable. Okay, continue on.
So we are using a local vendor.
Okay, fair enough.
And she does all plant-based, Mexicano, Latino kind of
Ooh, I know who you're talking about.
Mayowel.
Yes.
We're using Mayowel, and then we're also, so she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then I'll be there.
So again, we're promoting. Well, here's my other thing is
Right.
this is because I'm a public health nerd as well. When we're providing food for the community, I don't want to just slop on and just say, hey, give me a big box of pizzas. No, nothing wrong with pizzas. But when I'm feeding the community, I want to make sure that they have access to good, healthy food as well. They provide, we have gluten-free menu, we have a vegetarian menu, and the majority of her food is organic and plant-based. So she's amazing.
Wow.
For the CPAs, we are using the Street Food Institute,
Right.
which is outside of CNM, and they are delicious as well, who have the same thing, gluten-free, vegetarian. So we're accommodating everybody, and we're using local vendors. So don't you go slap your own hand over there.
All that. I mean, I love that. I think that's great, but that all reminds me of Chicano free menu.
Chicano free?
There's nothing fried. There's no there's no chicharrones.
Oh, do you want to talk about why you're eating egg whites?
There you go.
I'm going to call your coach on you.
Right? Yeah.
But it's been great. If anyone has any questions, hit up our website, ABC-Z. Oh my gosh. I've been saying it so many times.
I'm going to give it to you right here. It is
abc-zone.com. And also you can hit us up on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
So when you go into abc-zone.com and you submit comments, it goes directly into our emails and we can respond. You can also contact me directly at fpacheco, FPACHECO @cabq.gov. And I am more than happy to, sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with people who have questions. We are not the man behind the curtain. We are here. We're people, and we live in this community too.
All right. I love it.
I love it.
Beautiful. Thank you for spending some of your time with me here today. I know that we've talked about this forever and never until ever. And you're finally here. And, no, really, because, I shared the story with you of, becoming a community advocate on accident. I was one of them cats that was todo pa acá y nada pa allá. I didn't give two hoots about anybody else other than my own bones, right? And I got into it on accident. And let me tell you, it is certainly a life changer when you get outside of yourself and you become a little more interested and concerned about the well-being of other people outside of yourself. Magic happens in your own life, right? But even more so when you get involved in a particular community, right, that you grew up in, right, and you begin to fight the fight that so many have fought before. It becomes something that you become passionate about, and it's great work that needs to continue. It doesn't stop; it needs to continue, right? And so, thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Oh, no, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to the community members, because we're just paving the pathway, but the community members, again, are the ones who are going to be able to take that path forward. And I just thank you for having me here, because I want to build that trust. I want to reach out and extend the hand to the communities and said, come to the table. Let's talk. How can we help you move forward? So it's not us helping the community. It's how can we assist you? How can we be a resource to you?
Can you do me a huge favor? Whatever vato in that building came up with this idea, give him a big old pat on the back.
Oh, that would be our Deputy Director, James Aranda, who I'm actually calling out right now because he's being a big weenie and he didn't want to come today.
He's supposed to be here. Yeah.
He was.
He's supposed to be here, right? So, yeah, that was my little plug, right? How did you like that one?
He's hanging out at the Rio Grande Cantina.
That's right, folks. That is where we hang out at. We're going to let Francine boogie on out of here. And while we're doing that, we're going to take a quick little pause and a little break to bring in Joe Giles. He's going to come in and he's going to sit right there where you're at there so you can boogie out to your class there. While we're doing that, we are going to plug. That's right, folks, because that's what we do. Go ABQ Community Market. If you need help marketing your business, whether it be local or national, if you're here in the city of Albuquerque, guess what? We want to help you out with that. All you got to do is text Join Go ABQ to 72727. You will be given all the information about this unique platform that is going to help you. But just simply put, it's just like it says here. Google manages the world's information. Go ABQ manages Burke's information. All right, come on over. We're going to bring Joe on over. Francine, thank you again for being here.
Of course.
Hold on. Don't go yet.
Oh, okay.
Don't go yet.
Got to show off that hair.
Yes, we want to see that hair. There we go. Can we get you in there?
I'm coming.
All right. Ready? We're taking a selfie, folks. If you're wondering what's going on, it's selfie time. There you go. All right, so we got a selfie. We're going to post that up a little bit later on, and I will, of course, post links on how you can get a hold of Francine in planning. And, of course, Maya's going to hang out with us here because I want to introduce her to Joe. Joe. Where you at?
Waiting for me to move.
Red Rover, send Joe on over.
Okay, I'm still hogging the space.
Don't forget your burrito, your vegan burrito.
Take your half-eaten cold burrito.
Yeah, there is a microwave back there if you need to use a microwave there. Yes. We'll get you the headphones on, move the microphone right up to the face there. All right. I'm going to have to make a couple of quick adjustments while I'm doing that. Maya's going to sing the national anthem for us.
Oh, say. I'm not doing that.
No.
Start.
It was pretty good.
How do I get it so that it's streaming on my Peach?
All right.
I'm at
Okay.
right now.
So we got him on there. All right. So, you're on there. Okay, there you go. He's already on there. All right. Joining us
I don't want to hit me.
all the way from over there's.
You'll hit share and then write post, and it can go on your Facebook feed.
There you go. See, we're learning as we go. Technology is a beautiful thing. It is also magical. And I got to tell you, right? I mean, and you can attest to this, right? We live in a day and age where it is the easiest to communicate with folks. I don't know if it's been any easier in life. Has it been any easier in life?
It's too easy. We have like access to a laptop, a tiny laptop in our pocket at all times, and I can reach people on like 8 different methods to get a hold of them.
Now we're dealing with the seasoned musician here, right? So he's always going to make sure that.
Check 1, 2.
Now, okay, all right. Let me give you a proper introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, boys and girls, abuelas y abuelitos, primos y también mis primas. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to ABQB2B, the network live stream, Mr. Joe Giles.
How you doing?
What is up, my man?
Not much.
Oh, come on. Okay, let the personality out, right? I know he's holding back right now. He's pretending to be shy, which he's not by any means at all.
Well,
this guy is a world-renowned drummer in a rock and roll band.
Well, I am a drummer, so I'm always behind the drum kit, so I'm not used to being out here in the front. So
That's
it's
okay.
A little different for me.
A little different, but you're here. We're promoting your magazine. It is Your Home Money-Saving Magazine, right? Look at that. Can I have a copy of it?
Of course.
Yeah, look at that. Look at this. I'm going to show you guys this really quickly here, and you're going to love it, right? Look at that. Your Home Money-Saving Magazine, right? This one is the Balloon Fiesta edition. This one
That's
right
September. This is October.
Here we go. That is a scarecrow on the cover right there. What you really need to know is about the content that's right inside of this. I was thumbing through it just on Friday. Doesn't seem like that long ago, huh? Well, it wasn't. On Friday, Joe and I got together. We were having some lunch at a fabulous restaurant, and it was delicious lunch. Very delicious. We're not hiding anything on that one. But we were talking about Your Home Magazine, right? Money Savings Magazine, right? Did we lose you guys? Did I lose you guys?
You didn't lose me.
Okay, just making sure we didn't lose you guys, right? But we were also talking about some other great things that Joe has coming up. But first and foremost, let's talk about this magazine. How long has this magazine been available here in the city of Albuquerque?
I've been doing it for 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Yes.
Holy smokes, 4.5 years. So you got 4.5 years worth of content in here of advertisers that are just simply put making magic happen in the city and letting everybody know about all the wonderful things that they have here. What kinds of deals can people find in this magazine?
Well, it's primarily a home improvement magazine. We have every single home improvement category that you could possibly think of. And every one of the advertisers is a local, reputable home improvement company. And you can get the magazine anytime at any Albertsons supermarket. Just go there. And right now we're featuring the 2019 Balloon Fiesta restaurant section. Even though the Balloon Fiesta is over, our Balloon Fiesta restaurant section lives on, at least until the end of the month. Next month we'll be promoting the 2019 local holiday gift guide. So if you wanted to get some ideas to buy gifts, for your loved one, your kid, hubby, boyfriend, dog, you could grab a copy of it at the Albertsons supermarkets, and it'll have a whole bunch of big, giant local holiday gift ideas. It's really cool. I do it every year, November, December, and it's a really cool program.
I can dig it. I know that there's as I was flipping through it, I'm like, gosh, I got to go there. I got to go there. And these are, you're looking at some of the best here in the city of Albuquerque. And I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to pick up a magazine of your own. And
Exactly. Check it out, man. It's really cool.
But again, if you're in business, it's probably one of the most cost-effective ways for you to really, communicate, who you are and what you do, right? And what better way to do that than in a beautifully laid out magazine, high gloss magazine. Distribution, you're like in 150 million of these go out every month, right?
I wish. What we do, the main thing that we do is we purchase the new home buyer list every month.
Oh, okay.
And we mail that. So if someone were to move into the neighborhood, Albuquerque, Bernalillo, Corrales, Los Lunas, Placitas, Rio Rancho, Santa Fe, Los Alamos, up in the mountains, if they were to purchase a house, they'll get that magazine mailed to their house, like welcome to the neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And then the second thing that we do is obviously the Albertson supermarket distribution.
Wait, hold on. Let's take a quick time out. I want to go back to that because I never see people's reactions to things. But when you said that, I saw a certain person's eyes light up.
You probably just bought a house, right?
Did you just buy a house? No, not yet.
I did not just buy a house.
But she's thinking in her mind.
Soon.
She's like,
Yeah.
you know what? We really want to communicate city planning to all these brand new homeowners and
Absolutely.
the opportunities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. It's the reason why I chose new home buyers is because statistics show that the first 2 years of owning a home, people are all about their house. That's when they do most of their home improvement projects, believe it or not. And I use the analogy of when you buy a car. When you first buy your car, you take it to the car wash every week. And then as you have it longer, you might take it once a year. Well, people are the same with their house. You know what I mean? When they first buy their house, they just can't do enough to their house. So they're all about doing home improvement to their house. And then eventually they just get used to living in the way their house is until about 9 to 10 years. Then they either remodel it again or sell it. So it's one of those two things. But
Isn't that the same? Isn't that how life flows? Period. Like when something is new, you devote all your time and attention to it, and
Correct.
then you get used to it, and it becomes comfortable, right? And then you just live in that comfort until you can't stand it no more, and then you make a change.
except for kids.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to kids because
Doesn't apply to kids.
Once you
Can't
have
just
kids,
forget about them till they're 10 years old.
Yeah.
well, you can't forget about them, but and trust me, they will not let you forget about them at all. Gotta love kids, right?
Oh yeah. So we also do social media. I have about 5,000 local people on my social media page, and I put all my customers on there. I rotate them. I put 7 in the morning, 7 in the afternoon, 7 in the evening, 21 a days, and we just rotate them. I have about 65 customers. So you also get social media, and then I also just added radio.
Yes.
So I bought 360 spots of radio every month. I don't particularly want to tell you what radio station it is because it might be a little conflict of interest.
Never.
But that's
Never.
fine.
Tell
It's
us.
93.7, some kind of talk radio station. I did a trade deal and got a really smoking deal. So
I love it. 93.7.
I thought I would just try it. You know?
Is that who's the host of the show?
It's the Rock Talk.
The Rock of Talk. Eddie
Rock-
Aragon. The Rock
Yeah,
of Talk.
that guy. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm in the morning drives and the evening drive,
Yeah.
like the go to work drive and the when you come back from the thing.
Yeah. No, Eddie's a great guy.
It's new for me, so.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy at promoting local businesses. He's done a great job of that for
What's his
years.
name?
Eddie Aragon.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. No. In fact, we had an ABQ West radio show on the Rocket Talk for a while. I don't know if you guys recall that or not. But I mean, just like Tim Baca is here with the Livestream studio, Eddie is of the same mindset in the radio studio. And so
very cool.
Absolutely cool. So I want to talk about something that you recently picked up. I don't know if this is appropriate for you or not, but you recently bought another publication.
Yeah, I bought the local brewery magazine. So we're in the works of putting that together. It was owned by Tony Marano, who owns a printing company downtown, and he didn't want to do it anymore, so he asked me to buy it, and I bought it. And we're just in the building phases right now. So hopefully, it'll be cool. There's 50 breweries here in Albuquerque. Well, there's 35 in Albuquerque, and then there's 15 in the Albuquerque area. So I think Albuquerque is the brewery capital of the United States.
It's
Is it now? Wow.
It is. It should be, right? And see,
Feels like it.
the reason I wanted you to bring that up is because Maya's here looking for a side hustle, side gig, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she loves breweries, right? Or is
Well, I'm actually trying to partner up with this guy. You know, he says he has to mull it over. I'm not sure why, but that's I get it.
not mull it over. So okay,
I need a
okay.
partner.
Let's have the conversation live right here online, right? And so this is great. This is this is the power of social media, right? And we get instant reaction and input from folks there. But yes, absolutely, he presented an opportunity, to partner with him on the brewery magazine, and we met on Friday. We talked about it, and it's a great opportunity to take a publication from where it's been and help it to grow. And fortunately, I have done that for a handful of organizations here in my past. And this would be a new opportunity for me. Now, here's the challenge for me is that I do not consume. I am alcohol-free going on 8 years now. And initially it was a challenge, but it no longer is, right? I can hang out in places, not partake, and I'm cool with that. My concern is that I may not... excuse me. I'm getting all choked up. Is that I may not have that passion that somebody who can appreciate a craft brewery might have, right? There's that. Second is the capacity, right? Because it is a new project, and I too am working on a brand new project. Is having the capacity to make both vibrant here in the city of Albuquerque, because I don't do anything half-assed.
Yeah, right.
Right? We can't. I mean, that's our reputation on the line. I mean, what are we going to do if we don't give it our best or our all, right? So yeah, but no, I'm we're still talking. We're still looking at the implications of the publications. Did I say that right? The implications.
Yeah, I believe so.
Of the publications. Yeah, no. But at any rate, just know that I am always going to support you, and I will always promote anything that you're doing, because you've always been great at helping me out with that as well. And so, in fact, we're talking about how we can really integrate, the in your home. I don't know why I call it in your home. It's just your home.
Correct.
Well, I don't know where I got in from.
It could go in your home, though.
Well, that's where it does go. It goes in your home. Well, first it goes in your car if you're at Albertsons.
We also mail, though. We use the U.S. mail.
Yep.
To mail.
He's doing some in-home mailers. That's why it's in your home right there. But no, we were talking about just your rates versus what are some of the traditional ad rates for print, and I was completely blown away because of the mindset that you have, and the mindset that he has is simply this: is what, I'm here to help people in business, not hurt people in business. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, well, I'm going to provide them a platform where they can advertise their business that isn't going to wreck their business. It's not going to take from them financially that will devastate them, right? Like most advertising does, right?
Well, in layman terms, what he's trying to say is I'm probably the least expensive guy in town. If you want to just cut to the chase. I'm a company of one, so I keep the pricing way down. We do a super quality, beautiful package. We work really hard to earn your business. It's very local. It's just me. We just it's a really nice piece, and it's very affordable. It's a good way of getting your business in front of the people that just moved into town. Albuquerque is a very transient city for a few reasons. One is it's the biggest city in the state, so a lot of people in the state here seem to want to come to this part of town. It's also the cost of living is good and the weather's good, so a lot of people, government people, retire here, and the military installations. Then we have a lot of federal jobs here, and we have the Sandia Labs in Kirtland. So if you come in here in the magazine, you'll be the first one in front of all these new people that just moved into the area. So.
And I want to say something. It actually goes beyond that, because this is timely for me, because my mother lives in a house that my grandpa built, which is very, very, very old, and we're looking to remodel.
Yep.
And I'm looking through this magazine, and I'm already like, who can I call to get a quote?
Yeah.
To see who can help me with your remodeling.
Yep. Everybody in there is local.
So it's
reputable.
not just new homeowners, it's people who've been in neighborhoods that perhaps have had the house for years and years, these older neighborhoods where they need an uplift on their house as well.
Well, now you guys are going to be in the Barelas neighborhood, right? And we know that
That's
is
right.
probably the oldest part of Albuquerque, right? Outside of Atrisco, right? But this is exactly what we talk about, right? So we've been talking about, city planning and the fact that they're going to be getting out into the communities and promoting programs that will be educational for community members at large, right? One of those things that we talked about is covenants and zoning and all that wonderful stuff. And so I think it would be a great partnership for you to maybe tag along with them, right?
Sure. There's also a restaurant section in the magazine with a whole bunch of buy one get one free, buy one get one half off. So if you want to try out some new restaurants,
Did you see anything in there?
there's some really good restaurants.
Let me ask you this, right? Not to put you in a spot or anything like that at all, but what is your favorite restaurant here in the city of Albuquerque?
Pelicans.
Pelicans. I like Pelicans, right? That is the equivalent, or almost the equivalent of the Rio Grande Cantina 20 years ago. What I mean by is a place that everybody goes to, right? Sure. Pelicans is amazing. What's your favorite dish out there?
I always get the shrimp and pelican steak.
I love
shrimp and pelican shrimp and steak.
Pelican shrimp.
Baked potato.
So we're gonna join up on that. I know you got to boogie out, but I certainly do appreciate you spending some time with us here. How can folks get a hold of you if they want to advertise in the magazine?
505-900-6737, or go to my website, homemoneysavingmagazine.com, or find me on Facebook, Your Home Money Saving Magazine.
I love it. All right, there you go. Now you know how to get a hold of Joe, right? Make sure you do that. If you are in business, make sure you hit him up and advertise your business. And if you are a brewery, just know that one of the two of us is coming for you. We're gunning for you guys real soon, right? Hey, thank you for joining us. We certainly do appreciate that. I'm going to have you go to that seat there, if you don't mind, and we'll give the microphone.
Sorry, I got to go. I got a 12:30 appointment.
No problem. We're going to hang on to these here. We're going to look through them. We're going to talk about them on the Komohiyama, on the thingy. Yes. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Tim Baca, the Chief Hydration Officer, for opening up his business for us here and letting us come into Livestream from Team Alkaline Livestream Studios. There you are. Now you can hear everything that's going on. Look, what you were missing out on. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm missing out on it too. Give me a quick second. Who doesn't like... Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
No signal? No problem. Get YouTube.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about that there.
Your music offline.
All right. Now you guys can see, and I'm going to adjust
Cancel anytime.
some cameras here. But I want you guys to talk. I'm gonna give you guys something, right? And it's kind of based on the conversation that you and I were having earlier today.
Absolutely.
And you're going to love this, right? Because everything that we do here is, or should be, thought-provoking. Not just provoking, right? Well, I guess it could be. No? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I can say on here. I'm
So
trying to keep it appropriate.
I'm going to give you guys an idea, right? So I listen to several different podcasts every morning, and I'm always on a lifelong mission to better myself, right? I'll be a better person, period, right? If there's such a thing, I'm not sure, right?
There's not.
There's not. It's
You're either
always
good or you're not good.
Yeah, true. Very true. You're right about that. That was
There
part
is
of
no
our conversation. There isn't either you know right from wrong. It's you have a choice.
That's right.
Bottom line.
That's it.
You know right from wrong. You have the choice.
That's right.
Right.
Simple.
So I'm going to leave you with this, right? Or let this be the topic of conversation here for the next 5-10 minutes. It's the principle of the day.
Oh.
Yes.
You got a principle?
Principle of the day.
What is it?
Creation by addition. What he's referring to is most folks go into life thinking about all the things that they need to remove from their life or from their situation to get or be better.
Oh, okay.
So what he's saying is, let's remove that thought.
Exactly.
Let's take that negative connotation out of our thought and our mindset, and let's
Use
figure
it.
out how we can improve by creating
Okay.
something new.
Okay.
Ready,
I love that.
set, Go.
I could probably talk for 20 hours on this subject. Here's the thing, and I will say this about myself. I am a spiritual alchemist, and most people are like, well, what does that mean? So as a spiritual alchemist, we use everything, is what I'm going to say. We use everything. That means our pains, our suffering, our sorrow, the things that are uncomfortable, and we use it all to change the energy into something meaningful in our life. So everything that you built up from today, this moment, has made you who you are. So rather than deny that, it's to be the authentic self and say, who am I? That's kind of unpacking a lot of different things, right? Who am I? How do you know who you are? How do you get in touch with who you are? Well, it's accepting those things about you that you're uncomfortable with.
I love that. That's such a huge process too. That's like a lifelong
It
process.
is.
There you go.
It really is a lifelong process. And for me, I do Spirit and Coffee every morning, as Luis knows, on my Facebook. I've been doing it for over a year.
Right.
And I have about a following of 5.
What is Spirit and Coffee?
It's just, it's basically Spirit and Coffee. So I talk about practices and principles, but it started from a book that I was reading called The 13 Keys, Christ Consciousness, The Christ Blueprint, 13 Keys to Christ Consciousness. And I started reading it, and really Creator, God, whatever you want to call, said, you're going to do this. You're going to read this, and you're going to talk to people about what it means. Because I got on there and I told people, you should read this book. But I'm like, they're not going to read it. I'm like, I'm going to read it. And I'm going to tell them what it means and decipher kind of the codes. And then they themselves have their own interpretation. So some people will comment and say, well, this is what I think. But everything's accepted. Because really in life, we have our own perception and how we view the world around us. And everybody's perception is different, but it's the same because we're all part of the one. But we all have our unique traits, and everything that we go through, no matter what it is, and we call these tower events, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what they mean. There's a tower event that happens in your life where maybe you feel like everything's falling apart.
Right.
Where the whole foundation seems to be crumbling down. And I asked a master trainer one time, I said, tell me this, how do we catch the wave and stay on? How do we catch the wave? And she goes, well, what do you think? She goes, tell me about someone who surfs. What do? Well, they get on their board and they paddle out. They might catch a wave and fall off, but what do? They come back to shore and they paddle back out. So it's just practice. We're here to practice life. And in the practice of life, we catch those waves. And sometimes those waves are so huge and we're like, yes, we got it. And then it just comes tumbling down. So the higher we go, the greater we fall. So
right.
But the thing is to accept it all and not to be afraid of that.
Right.
That's why they say don't be afraid to fail. You fail forward. Mm-hmm. But until you experience that huge failure that you feel is a failure, that's huge, and everything feels like it's crumbling down, you don't really understand it. Once you do, and you come to that point where you understand it, now it's time to do the real work.
Right.
Which is resetting your principles so that you have a foundation to build from. Because maybe you didn't know them in the past. Maybe you didn't even know if you lived off a set of principles. You're like, what are principles? I don't even know what that is.
Who's a principal?
Yeah, who's my principal?
Who's my principal?
Exactly.
So, okay, let's talk about that, right? Because that came up in conversation this morning. What are the tools that you use to help you identify your principles? Or how does one go about setting principles or identifying with what principles make sense for them in their life?
That's a great question, because everybody's going to have a set of principles that are different from everybody else. And
right.
So to identify it, we put into action through different practices. And it just depends. So really, sometimes it takes unpacking or talking with an individual. So sometimes communication with an individual, a life coach. I really believe in life coaching. A psychologist. If there's something that's really going on with you that you need some medical help, then I would say do that. But also little practices like journaling, meditating, exercising.
Those are big little practices too. If you add those into your everyday life, I mean,
absolutely.
You see so much change. I've started journaling last year, and I love it. I love going back in time and like seeing where I was, where my headspace was. It's the best way to improve on yourself.
It is, and you're a communications person. So for you, that's awesome, right? And then you're actually honing in on a skill that you love and you're passionate about it as well. It's like, how do I communicate?
Right.
So you could do that. For me, I do a lot. Actually, if you just knew my schedule, it's kind of, I'm pretty systematic. I'm like, I wake up, I do Kundalini practice, breath work, because I know that the breath of life is important.
Mm-hmm.
So the air we breathe, right? People say water, and it's not, it's air. Because the breath that we take, so we could live without food, we could live without water for a while.
Mhm.
But without breath,
Done.
we're done.
Yeah.
So it's the first thing that we need to learn. And so reteaching people how to breathe properly. How do we even breathe? If you're like, how you can't do anything, you're like not right. So I've been talking a lot about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic system and how that works and operates in the body and how we respond to those things. So people think this is woo woo out there. She's spiritual alchemist and there's all this magic. You kept saying magic this morning. I heard
Did I?
magic. Yeah, everything was magical. And it is like magic, but the reality is there's science behind it too.
Right.
There's science behind all of this. So even in your practices, you're looking, you're identifying what your principles are. So you could come back and say, oh, I know for me that I am authentic, vulnerable. I've cried on my live videos before. You know, people see me crying. I've yelled, I've screamed, I've identified, oh, this is ego coming up right now. And I want you guys to see that this is ego.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having an ego. So many people are like, oh, I don't have an ego. Well, that right there, yes, you do. You have an ego.
Mentiras.
Yeah, I know.
A la
So it's
egomaniac.
you could just look at the ego and just go, yeah, I got you. You're mine. Just pet it a little bit, right? Kiss it. That's a practice.
Right.
I love you. Just sit here, but it's not your time. You just need to sit there, right? Or sometimes you're like, I'm going to take that ego and I'm going to go punch a punching bag,
Right.
right? Or box or exercise.
I
or
like
release
that thought of at least acknowledging the ego instead of just like, you know, normally it's like, oh, your ego's blowing up, and it's like this always this really like negative, like you don't want to acknowledge it.
That's right.
It's really cool to kind of take responsibility and acknowledge what's going on with you and your ego.
And notice how you build trust within people when you're authentic that way. Because there's times when people call you out, right? And you'll be like,
Yeah.
did you do this? And you're like, yeah, I did. I did that. But I get where I went wrong, and I know where I'm going to course correct
Right.
and make a different choice.
Make a different choice, right? There you go. The quote of the day, there are a lot of behaviors and patterns that you're up to that don't effing work.
It's true.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. I feel like you've got a lot to say on this. Now, we were talking earlier before we started the show, and you were sharing your interest in developing a podcast. And he said it's probably not, something that, we want to tie into the city planning office, maybe a side
Yeah.
hustle, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great. I mean, we talk about this all the time, right? As Chicanos, right? Or Burqueños, we know about hustling.
Every day we're hustling.
Every day, right? Every day. I mean, we all have our regular, 8 to 6 daytime gig, right? If we're fortunate to have one, right? But then we also always have like 2 or 3 gigs after that, right? Of just because that's how we're wired, I think,
Yeah.
So tell us about your idea.
My podcast idea?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this is okay. So I've had this idea for a long time, and it was when I gave birth to this idea. It was like painful. It was like giving birth. It was a creative birth. So, and I haven't really made any moves on it, but now that I'm sitting here in the studio, it's getting me thinking about being on a microphone.
Sure.
But my idea is, okay, so I'm a millennial. I love millennial stuff. It's mad millennial. So I want to know what millennials are mad about. And it's not just like mad like I'm pissed. It's like I want to know what you're mad passionate about. I want to know what you're mad scared about. Like just tell me what's making you mad lately. It doesn't have to be anger.
Does it have to be millennials, or can it be old guys like me?
So
You could
maybe
pretend you are.
both. Yeah.
I think like a millennial.
If you were.
It could be both. I think that like the show ideas would generate from millennials,
Sure.
and then of course you could go out and interview other people in the community, maybe area experts of whatever we're discussing. But the ideas would be generated from millennials.
And I think it's a great idea.
That is.
Because there are so many misconceptions about millennials.
Yes.
And there's so much that's being put on millennials, and they get to have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
And I wanted to showcase that millennials, because I've always grown up and it's like, oh, millennials ruined this. Millennials are just
How did
taking
you-
down the
Wait,
industry.
hold on. I can sense a little anger.
I know, yeah.
That's
why it's
My
called
ego
That's why
coming
it's
out.
called mad.
What are you mad about?
Well, I'm not really mad at anything right now. I have my mad passions that I
There you
can
go.
talk about for days, but
No, I mean that brings up a great topic. About millennials. And society telling you that you need to behave or act a certain way, based on what they perceive you to be. Right. Same thing happened in the Industrial Revolution. Right. With men, they forgot how to be men because they were taken out of that process. Right. They.
Sure.
And so is life. Those things happen, right? But I think it's a great idea for you to again shed some light. You're a light shedder. That's what you are.
ooh,
Light
I
shedder.
like that.
Light shedder.
You're a light shedder.
Light shedder.
That's your superhuman power.
Well, that's good. We need those.
I'm gonna make a comic of that now. That's perfect.
Isn't it?
I'm gonna add that to
The
my
light
comic
shedder.
list idea. Actually,
Oh, good. I
That
want
would be
to
a
do
cool.
comics
That
too.
would be a cool comic.
Yes.
Who are you? What is your superpower? I'm a light shedder. What do you
Shed
do?
light.
I call people out.
And I shed light.
you know, I was thinking about superpowers actually this morning when I was getting ready, and mine is unfortunately, you can hand me something, and I can make it disappear.
Really?
Not in like a really exciting way, just like I will lose it. I will lose whatever you give me.
Oh, you're saying this is your real superpower. I'm like, where's it going to go into Mary Poppins' purse? Sorry, I don't know.
Right?
No.
It's like she pulls it out like, oh.
There it is. Hey, there it is right there. No.
Disappeared into
Hey, you know
Somewhere
what?
in the car or someone else's car.
We all have those things, right? Mine happens to be up here, right? You can tell me one thing and it'll go in this here and out the other one, and then I'll be like, hey, you know?
I just said that. I just said
Yeah.
that. Aren't you listening?
At least that's what my wife tells me my superhero power is.
Oh.
But yeah, I need to fix that. I got to work on that.
Sure. No.
Pick up a skill like light shedding, maybe.
Light shed.
No, so I took up that the hobby of light shedding here over the course of the last couple of years, and it's put me in some very prominent positions.
Well, we're here now.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are.
The authentic get to communicate.
Yes, I get to communicate authentically, tell you what really is and what really isn't, right? But yeah, no, I took on or got in the cast of light shedding. I'll call that
Oh, I like that. The cast.
the cast.
We're the cast of light shedders.
Yes, me and my fellow cast of light shedders.
Yes.
Somebody ought to write a song. Are you a
we just-
songwriter? I know you're in communications.
No, but I could add that to my bucket list of things to do.
Yes.
You should totally be.
Write a song.
She's going to walk around. What did I do?
We're going to turn you into a jingle writer right here on the spot.
No, we're turning her into a yes person. Yes, I will write the song. Yes, I will do the podcast. Yes, I will do
Yes.
Ooh, the yesing sounds hard. Yesing a lot.
No, but opportunities, right?
Well, you
Yeah.
know,
But then there's some, for me at least, I've learned in my life, like there's been some self-care in saying no to a lot of things.
good,
You know,
good,
the
yes.
boundaries coming through.
Boundaries are good.
are you sure you're a millennial?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very millennial. I'm using all these like therapy-esque terms because millennials, we're going to therapy now. We're not afraid to talk about it. It's
That's
pretty
right.
awesome. It's actually really, really awesome.
I agree. I'm like I have a little bit of both. What is it, Gen X and then millennial?
Yeah,
I'm
is that
like
what we are?
I'm like no, no.
Cuspin?
Well, I don't know. You're older than me. Let's just throw that out there.
Okay, by like 3 weeks. No, we're the same age, aren't we?
That's where the cutoff went. No, we're
No?
No.
I thought you were 39.
I am. You're
Yeah.
39?
Yeah.
Why did I?
Just kidding.
No, because earlier you said your
Yeah.
age earlier. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I'm like no.
I did,
But
I
you
did.
know what? We're on the cusp. I mean, we have millennial in us a
Right.
little bit. Sure, we
Well,
do.
you know,
It kind
good-
of seeps over.
all good things. It does seep over. It does seep over. Yes, it does. But no, I mean, I think when people can move into a space in their life where they can be real, they can be true, and they can talk about their feelings openly.
Authenticity. Well, that's the thing. Emotion is they call it the feminine. I was going to esoteric works. I know.
Right.
The divine masculine and divine feminine. we've shut down emotion for so long
Right.
that we're denying a huge part of who we are as a human. As a human. And that's why we see all the craziness in the world. That's like I tell people, it's not that there's prophecy, it's that there's patterns that you just talked about.
Right.
And we can identify the patterns based on the way behavior is, just people in general. And when you don't allow the emotion to come out, you get angry people, all these things start to surface. And it's
Mad
awesome.
people.
Yeah, mad millennials.
And so, exactly. So it's awesome because now you can say, hey, we're going to talk about this and be authentic, which is why we see so much happening in, I'm not going to get political, but in the political arena. We see all these things coming to light, right? The light shedders, like you said, they're coming out, they're speaking their truth. And I love it. I'm excited.
I'm a light shedder.
I'm excited.
We're going to hashtag light shedder.
Okay,
love
so
it.
We got to figure out how to spell that because it has to be a unique spelling.
I
And
like-
it can't be like,
LITE.
I don't know. We'll think about that.
I like light
E.
shredder too. I might take that for myself because I skate, so it could be a light shredder.
light shredder. Ladies and
Shredding
gentlemen,
on
please
light.
help me welcome the light shredders.
I like that.
Yes.
We do Light Shredder podcast.
We could do, you know what? Oh my goodness. That, I don't think the world could handle that. I don't think
They would.
I don't think Albuquerque could handle that
Dude,
because
we'd have
they
a
would be
following
like,
of 5, and that would be good enough.
no. We would have a following of like 6.
Okay, I'll add 1 to that.
6.
6,
Or 7. 7's a
7.
better number.
7.
Yeah.
A really enlightened 7 folks, though. They would be fortunate.
Yes, I agree. Like my 6 people that show up to my Spirit and Coffee.
Don't worry. I mean, we're here live, and I'm not sure how many people are watching, but
But we're having fun.
just so you know, right? So, in the world of live streaming, most folks who live stream, and just to give you a little reference here, most folks that live stream do so to a crowd, typically of under 10 people.
That's me.
No, really.
I know.
That sounds about right.
The
though.
majority of listeners or viewers
Sure.
happens when you are not live.
Oh, it's after the fact.
After the fact.
That makes sense.
Yes, when they're sitting on the can, or they're getting ready for
Sure,
bed.
sure.
That's where they watch.
Good night,
Sure.
guys.
Yeah, good night, guys. And then they watch, and they're like, oh my God, they're talking about something that I
Care
can
about.
identify with,
Yeah.
that I care about.
That's true. Because when I go back to look at who's viewed it, it's quite a few.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they stay on so long because I can talk a lot. I'm like,
Right.
oh my God. Right? See, not paying attention.
Hold on, I've got some Latinas over here that can you guys come on in here? Hey, just bring the whole party on over. Bring the whole party. So here in the studio, another show that we produce here is called Latinas a Otro Nivel.
Ah, yes, I've heard of you.
This is Miss Adakini, and she is one of the founders of Latinas a Otro Nivel. Right, founder?
I thought it was a picture.
Oh, you want a picture?
No.
There you go. Take a picture.
Yeah,
Take a picture.
Take a picture.
I don't have my phone. Hola. How are you, everyone?
So that show is coming up here. I know now. Typically, it's 12:30,
And what time is it?
12:15.
Oh, okay. We'll see you later.
We're gonna hang out. We're gonna take some selfies before you start. Before we finish,
Okay,
right? Because
sure.
that's what we do, right? We like to
Sure.
take selfies of what we're doing here
That's right.
in the community, right? Always good times, right? So they talk about their show is called El Mitotazo, right? And they drop dirt on whatever they want to drop dirt on. They
That's
are
cool.
light shedders,
Oh, good.
right? They talk about real things.
That's awesome.
And they talk about things that are taboo that most, Hispanic women, men and women, do not talk about based on our cultures.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So things that you don't talk about at the dinner table,
sure.
they talk about here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So it's a really, really, really cool show. They've got a lot of different things that they're doing in the community in terms of empowering and engaging women, right, and men. They're going to do a men's group as well, right?
Oh, good.
Maybe we'll have them turn up a millennial.
Yes.
Maybe we should start. You know what? You're an event person. So are you. So am I.
What? Yeah.
We had to create an event, a
Okay.
millennial experience.
Ooh, I'd love it.
Why you mad, bro?
But a cool one, a cool millennial
Why you mad?
experience.
I ain't mad at you.
We'll call it Why you mad, bro?
Yeah. Why you mad, bro?
Yeah. Why you mad, bro?
Why you mad, bro?
Why you mad?
All
There
right,
you go.
let's do it. This is where ideas are seated.
That's where they're at. All right. Well, for those of you guys who are tuning in live, we certainly do appreciate you spending a little
Yes,
bit of your
thank
time
you.
with us.
Aw, I appreciate
We do
it.
thank you. We do.
To
We
say
do. We do.
namaste.
Maya, how can folks find you, connect with you, and when are you going to do your podcast? Am I pushing you right now?
You are pushing me, and it's good. I needed it. We're going to connect about this because Mad Millennial is going to be a thing very soon.
Cool.
But for now, people can connect with me. If you want to connect with me on city things, my email is mayarodriguez@cabq.gov. I just gave Luis one of my very first business cards.
I was the first.
Just came in the mail today.
Yay, you're all grown up.
So now I'm like, I'm an official city employee. I have business cards and a T-shirt.
And a T-shirt. Is it a one Albuquerque T-shirt?
Yep, it is.
Okay, just making sure because I heard those are pretty hard to come by.
Oh my gosh, they're very hard to come by.
Yeah.
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 High demand.
No, really. Like I since they first hit the airwaves, I put in my request, right? And I'm saying before they were actually printed
And you still
and
haven't-
physically available.
Uh-huh.
I'm seriously talking about the airwaves. I put in my request, and I still don't have one.
What? What color did you want?
It doesn't matter.
Ooh.
I wear a size large.
Noted.
It'll be medium in like a few days, right?
No. So I've gone from an extra large to a large. That's right. I am.
You're gonna be a medium soon.
I'm taking care of my body, folks. Hey, and some good news for me to celebrate. I am diabetic type 2. For years, I've lived in the no-go zone. And the no-go zone is my A1C has been upwards of like 9, 10. On one of my last visits, it was up at 13, almost 14, which is way bad news, right? Well, with the help of King of Kings Nutrition, Superior Nutrition, Coach Isaac Velarde.
Oh, we love Coach.
We love Coach, right?
I love my Coach.
He has opened my eyes to properly fueling my body.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And as a result, my wife has dropped 30 pounds on proper nutrition
Oh my
alone.
God! Yay!
That's
for her.
amazing.
I'm so proud of her.
No gym.
Oh yeah,
No gym, just
Yeah.
properly
that's right.
feeding her
That's
body,
right.
right?
Yes.
And I haven't had that. I haven't dropped 30 pounds like she has.
Well,
What I have dropped is my A1C,
well, that's
which
perfect.
is back into normal range. Yesterday it
Yay.
was 6.3.
And are you proud of yourself
Amen.
for that?
Hallelujah. I am proud of me, proud of my wife, proud of Coach, proud to be
An American.
an American. I'm proud to be Chicano to the bone. I can't sing the rest on live here, but yes, I am very proud of that. And those things happen when you have people who believe in you when you don't have enough belief in yourself,
Sure.
and they push you until you get there,
Yes.
right?
That's
and then
right.
you live in it.
That's
or
right.
you figure out how to live in it. That's what Natalie's here today. She's here to help me figure out my way to live in it,
Awesome.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
All
Maya,
of it.
why are you here? I know why you're here.
You know why I'm here.
You're here because you need to be exposed to this beautiful studio here so
I
you can do your
know.
podcast in it.
The stars aligned for me to come here today.
They did. Absolutely.
Yay.
Absolutely. All right. Now, if folks want to get in contact with you,
They can go to my Facebook, Natalie Pena.
Natalie
And
Pena.
you'll see me like this.
Ooh.
Yeah,
And there's some things coming up in my life too. But I would say yes, go to the Facebook. Alon Vital as well. Alon Vital trainings on Facebook as well. I'll share some of my stuff there. And I'm getting my stuff organized. And I'm going to talk to you about perhaps coming on for an event that we'll be doing in Santa Fe for a women's workshops with Iris. I think you know who Iris is as well, right?
I do.
Okay, good.
Yes, I
So
do. I
there
do.
you
I
go.
do.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
that's that.
Well, there you have it. If you don't know, now you do. If you want to get a hold of me, just visit any public restroom. My number is up in stalls. Just kidding. Just
You're not.
kidding.
I put him there. No, just kidding.
Oh, I thought it was a Johnny board.
Yeah. There you go.
Johnny boy.
You get it, right? You get it. But no, absolutely. You guys can get a hold of me. You can reach me directly, 505-688-4122. And, of course, if you want to connect with me through GoABQ, all you got to do is text Join GoABQ to 72727. And if that's too long for you, let me simplify it. Text ABQ to 72727, and I will reach out to you personally.
Wow.
There you go. Now you know. Hey, friends, thank you again. Want to thank our good friend, Mr. Tim Baca. The entire team here at the Kangen Water Store. Change your water, change your life. If you're not familiar with it yet, we will get you educated. Just get down here and tell them that you want to try the good water and that you heard about it on ABQB2B, the network live stream. They will send you away with 2 gallons of water of your very own to try out for yourself so you can have your own amazing and magical experience. Right?
Yes.
All right, friends, we will see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.